Hey everybody, good evening. My name is Scott Brown and welcome to my vlog, Chasing Rabbits. Here is where I try to help you become the leader you always wish you had. Over the past couple of nights as we've gotten started with this 365-day project, I've been rolling out a couple of the baseline concepts that I use when I coach individuals for leadership, when I work with organizations, as I write about leadership, as I talk about leadership. It all starts with a couple of baseline concepts. The first is the question of what if, that question that elicits the discovery of possibility. And the second is game theory. Now, historically, game theory is a mathematical theory, and there are 5 major types of game theory that we reviewed in the past couple of nights. You have cooperative games versus non-cooperative games, symmetrical games versus non-symmetrical games, zero-sum games versus non-zero-sum games, simultaneous games versus sequential games, and discrete games versus continuous games. I believe, though, that there is a 6th type of game that is all around us, that surrounds us in everything that we do, but it's not mathematical. It's not based upon mathematical modeling or probabilities or statistics. It's based upon relationships. It's based upon activities. It's based upon choices. And it's more culturally based or anthropologically based than most of game theory is. I believe that the world is divided into formal games and informal games. Yes, formal games and informal games. We introduced the basic idea of formal games last night. That formal games are games that have specific rules. You keep score with them. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are a set number of players within the game. You know who those players are. You don't need more than one player, but you need to have somebody playing the game. And the 2 big things that separate formal games from informal games, I believe formal games are always man-made. We create formal games. And the second is that all formal games exist within an umbrella of an informal game. Tonight, I want to talk about one of those concepts in a little bit more detail, one of the concepts that flies against some of the reasoning and theory of traditional mathematical game theory, and that is the number of players that are required. In formal games, you only really need one player. There are games of solitaire. There are games of mahjong. Those are individual one-person player games that are absolutely formal games. There are rules. There's a structure. There's a beginning. There's an end. There is a strategy that you use in order to play the game. You know what everyone is doing. And it's also man-made. It's not something that happens within the animal world. It's not something that happens outside of humankind. You don't see your dog playing solitaire. If you do, I want to meet your dog. But that's not something that actually happens. So there are absolutely solitary games that are part of game theory. I'll give you a great example of a formal game that you can create yourself. That's a one-player game. That's something that I did when I was younger. It's a true story. So as I got into junior high school in 1980, somewhere around there, 1981, when we got into junior high school, it was the first time that we were ever introduced to the concept of grades. When I was in elementary school, all the report cards, all those progress reports only said, was there difficulty or not difficulty? It was like pass, fail, basically. But then when you got to 7th grade, all of a sudden, everyone started working towards grade point averages. You started trying to get straight A's. You can get an A, a B, a C, a D, an E. All of the normal grades that you get, but that wasn't introduced to us until we were in 7th grade. Well, 7th grade, I followed the pack. I did what I was supposed to do. I tried to get straight A's. And at the end of the year, I said, this is ridiculous. I do not enjoy playing this game one bit. But it wasn't that I didn't enjoy school. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy learning or education. I didn't enjoy playing that particular game and being compared to everybody else playing that game. I wanted to be compared against what I could do, against my own set measure. So I set out and created my own game. Now, if you have a child, I do not recommend you sharing this with them because they may do this, and I know from experience, parents don't like the outcome of my game because my parents did not like the outcome of my game. So in 8th grade, I went in, I looked at my classes, and I said, instead of trying to get all straight A's, I'm going to try to get a straight. Yes, a straight. That meant that I wanted to get 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1 incomplete, and 1 pass. I wanted one of everything. And I thought that'd be a really fun game to play because I knew that not only did I need to learn the material, but I needed to learn how to manage what I did in order to get a specific outcome. I thought it'd be even more challenging than just trying to get straight A's. Anybody can get straight A's, not everybody can get a straight. So throughout the course of the year, I figured out how much homework I had to turn in, what answers I had to purposely miss on tests, how much I could not participate in a class or participate in a class in order to get the points. And I also had to create relationships with teachers so that if I was getting a D, they wouldn't feel bad for me and just give me a C. I needed to make sure that I got those grades. At the end of the year, when I got my final report card for that year, I was so excited because I had gotten an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, an incomplete, and a pass. I did it. I was thrilled that I had accomplished this game that I had created for myself. I showed my parents my grades, and they were a little less enthused about the game that I had decided to play, and I didn't tell anybody about. That 2.5 grade point average, not rocking the world for many people, but I thought that it was really cool that that was a game that I had learned to play. That's what formal games are. They are man-made games that exist within an umbrella of an informal game. Within the informal game of education and learning, I created a game of grades. We do that everywhere in life, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, we create a bunch of formal games ourselves. But sometimes we confuse the formal game we're playing with the informal game we're playing. But I wanted tonight just to be an introduction as to what is a one-person formal game. I think that's a very good illustration. So if you have questions, I'd love to hear them. If you have comments, I'd love to hear those also. What do you think about playing the game that you decide to play as opposed to the game that what everybody else decides to play? How do you use the question, what if, to form your own formal games? Until tomorrow, my name is Scott Brown. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to helping you become the leader that you always were supposed to be. Toast on, my friends.